Hello everyone and welcome to Project Plant-Based. We believe that the climate has always seemed to come second best to many things such as money and COVID. Our project will aim to encourage as many people and schools as possible to reduce their meat intake for the sake of the environment, as we believe this is the fastest way to make a difference. It's important to remember that the small changes can make the biggest difference, and that if we all band together to make lots of small changes in our diet, we can change the world.
After looking through lots of menus of catering companies across Wales, we noticed a recurring theme of meat, not just on the menu weekly, but daily, and this is a perfect example of an unsustainable diet. Eating meat daily is only going to make the situation regarding climate change worse, whereas having more plant-based foods will impact a lot. You don't have to be vegan, vegetarian, or pescatarian. Just avoid the products of meat every now and then, and it will make all the difference.
You don't have to go completely plant-based, and like Eva previously said, small changes make all the difference. Inspired by the creators of the Bosch Cookbook, we've decided a great way to reduce emissions is by having meat-free Mondays in schools across Wales. Meat-free means meat-free. We've heard there are some politicians watching, but there are no loopholes in this one. We ask that school catering companies use this as an opportunity to correct the damage their companies are having on our planet by switching their menus for just one day a week. It really is that easy. Meat-free Mondays are as simple as it sounds. One day a week in schools across Wales, we would go completely plant-based and avoid any animal products. In short, eat plants for the planet. This is our call to action, and we couldn't put it any clearer. Go more plant-based for the planet.
Mass change is a collective effort. Easy changes in your day-to-day life can reinforce actions already taken by bigger, maybe famous people. These changes are why I told you my morning. I wash my sheets in my washing machine. Changing my washing machine settings to eco washes saves hundreds of litres of water a day. Hundreds. Having a 10-minute shower will use half the amount of water compared to having a bath. That's over 100 litres of water saved per wash. And I know that the most important factor when combating climate change is education. We should never stop learning. While writing this speech, I learned that Dewi Sant said, "Gwenech yn pethau buchain mewn bywyd." Now, I'm not fluent in Welsh, so excuse me if I said that wrong. But he meant do the little things in life. The most important part of the mass change needed to stop climate change is the adaptation of small, maybe unconscious routines in our day-to-day life. These things we do will matter, and changing them will better the environment we live in and better the future for the generations to come. I want you to think about how you can change your routine, even slightly, to better the environment for the future generations. Nothing you do will be insignificant because there are thousands of people doing the exact same thing. And you are contributing to the bigger goal, just as David Attenborough is, just as Jane Goodall is. So take the walk, risk getting wet, change the settings on your washing machine, and have a bath. Have a shower instead of a bath, don't have a bath. Because these small changes will snowball into mass action. Thank you.
Everyone talks about plastics in the ocean, but no one mentions ocean acidification, which has been described as climate change's equally evil twin.
The more acidic seawater becomes, the less calcium carbonate it can hold. Many marine species, including coral, need calcium carbonate to build their protective shells and exoskeletons. Without shells, it grows slowly and become weak. Although coral reefs are known to clean the ocean, they are constantly being acidified by the carbon dioxide going into the ocean. Coral reefs are home to many creatures and protect wildlife. Small things we can do to help stop ocean acidification is to save water. For example, don't leave the tap on when you finish brushing your teeth. Reduce plastic. Buy more products that don't contain plastic, or at least not as much. Recycle. If you finish with an item and want to bin it, don't, because it could be used for something more useful. Buy locally. If you start buying from more local shops, there won't be need for deliveries. Deliveries can create a huge amount of carbon. So, for example, you could walk or cycle to your local shops.
Humans are curious by nature, but also protective too. So why aren't we protecting our planet Earth? It's not like there's another planet lined up ready. In conclusion, this affects everyone, not just aquatic life like phytoplankton. Thank you.
We are terrified. Terrified of the world we see unfolding before our eyes. We are terrified of being out of control, unable to understand decisions being made by people we have never met that will impact our futures. Brother Adam, creator of the Buckfast Bees, said, "Listen to the bees and let them guide you." So we did. We decided to make a task force at our school dedicated to the environment to help take action and do our bit to solve a problem bigger than our school, bigger than Wrexham, and one the size of the planet. We needed to think like the bees.
Bees are the byword for work. We've all heard of busy bees, but interestingly, a single bee only produces 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey each in their lifetime. At first, this may not seem like much, but if we amplify this across the thousands of them in a swarm, and then amplify this again across the 2 trillion bees in the world, then it becomes memorable, right? Similarly, if we all put in the effort together as one big swarm, we could potentially make a huge difference.
Almost 90% of wild plants and 75% of crops rely on bees and other animals and insects for pollination. This means that every 3 mouthfuls of our food relies on pollinators.
Unfortunately, an estimated 97% of wildflower meadows have disappeared from England and Wales since the 1930s. In rural areas, pesticides called neonicotinoids stop pests from eating crops, but also kill bees. These are banned in the EU, but because of Brexit, are now legal in certain circumstances in the UK and may further the decline of bees. In urban areas, beekeeping has become so popular that there's been an increase in beehives but a decrease in green space, causing many bees to starve with not enough flowers to collect food from. The decline in these bees will hugely impact our economy.
In the words of Jane Goodall, an environmental campaigner and expert on chimpanzees, if people lose hope, we may as well give up. So we won't lose hope. We will carry on our work and ask for your help. We want your help to protect the bees. We want you to plant wildflowers in your gardens or plant pots. Help out with your local planting community. Ask your golf clubs or football clubs to leave space for nature. A single lawn can produce enough nectar to feed up to 1,088 bees, according to PBC Springwatch per day. Imagine that multiplied across everyone in this room. Be the change we need.
We have installed 84 solar panels on 2 of our roofs. These solar panels take in UV light and convert it to usable electricity via the big inverter. We now make our own electricity to power our lights, charge our computers, and run the heating system. As for the heating system, we have replaced the very old oil-powered system and installed air source heat pumps on our roof. In very simple terms, pumps take in heat out of the air. Even when it is freezing outside, there is something called latent heat in the air, which is to be sucked into the heat pump, which then uses an electric booster to increase the temperature of the air. It's just then drawn in to heat up the school. One of the limitations of solar power is that it only works when the sun is shining. But we have a solution to this problem. By installing a Tesla Powerwall, a very big battery, this means we have power on the cloudiest of days and also can sell back power to the national grid at peak times.
We have replaced the radiators to accommodate this new heating system, as the others were too small to heat the building.
As a result, we have gone from using non-renewable sources of energy to power our school to using renewable sources of energy. This is helping us reduce our carbon footprint to net zero. We have been awarded the AONB Landscape Award. Our energy costs have been reduced by 70%, a massive bonus.
Your part to play. Our building was not suited to the purpose of being sustainable. Neither are other schools. However, we don't need to rebuild. We can make small steps, a small change, just one thing at a time will help. Can you do that?
Schools need experts, companies like JM Renewables with the know-how, funding and support from the government and local councils to make these adaptations to make schools sustainable for the future.
I have a new baby brother less than 1 month old. There he is. However, I'm worried about the world he'd grow up in. I want people to stop making fuel and diesel powered cars and to start making more electric cars. And instead of having houses running on non-renewable electricity, Try to make a lot of houses run on solar panels.
We measured the area of the school and we found out that we have approximately 1,153 square metres of roof space. We also have measured the car park, and if we made carports, we would have potential 1,623 square metres for solar panels. We would have space for 54 kilowatt systems, although we only need 21. Saving £14,500 a year could help us buy more better equipment. £14,500 could pay for new iPads, Chromebooks, sports equipment, reading books, pencils, and so much more.
We will ask you guys to do something for us today. For you to invest in solar energy, installing solar panels and reducing the use of fossil fuels.
As businesses, turn your buildings into solar farms and invest in solar energy. Help to develop solar energy and make solar panels cheaper and more affordable.
As councils and governments, support schools financially to be completely powered by solar energy. Use public sector buildings rather than greenfields, towers, solar farms. Make Wales the greenest country in the world.
As individuals, look at installing solar panels to your house.
Right now we have choices and decisions that could save our planet. One day we may not have any choices left. Diolch.